having a chuckle here. My director is telling me to make sure I look smiley. Hi. Welcome. This is the second show of our little seasonal live stream. My name is Don Ross, and welcome to the Candyrat YouTube channel. Candyrat is a really fine record label, sort of an internet record label, sort of started after the whole Napster debacle in the early 2000s. And Candyrat got going in 2005, and I was its first signing. So that's cool. And I've been putting out records for them ever since. They run out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin by Rob and Holly Poland. So they're out there. Hi, you guys. And I'm here. I'm joined by my partner in crime and wonderful life partner, Brooke Miller. So Brooke is going to be here monitoring comments and questions and stuff like that. So if you have a question, I'll try to make brief answers. And if you have requests, I'm mostly playing my seasonal stuff tonight, but I might be able to squeeze in an original tune here and there. All right. Say hi, Brooke.
Hi, everyone. Happy holidays.
I'm going to start off. I'm mostly going to play traditional music tonight, but my own weird arrangements of traditional music. But this one is a more contemporary tune. It's written in 1965 by Vince Guaraldi, the great piano player who had an incredible trio, was very popular at the time. And I believe the lyric writer was Lee Mendelson. And so they wrote it for the Charlie Brown Christmas special, which came out, I think, on CBS television in the United States in 1965. So I'm going to start off with that tune for you. It's called Christmas Time Is Here. So good evening in North America, good middle of the night over in Europe, and good morning in East Asia. So people who are watching from Japan and Korea, and if you're sneaking on in China, you're welcome. And Taiwan, of course, and all places in between, Malaysia and Australia and New Zealand and all you guys. So nice to have you here tonight, today, whatever it is for you. This is Christmas Time Is Here by Vince Guaraldi. Alrighty. True Confessions, that's the first time I've ever played that tune publicly. I recorded it on my EP back in 2015 and have never played it live. So it's a finger bender, that one. It's a great set of changes, really hard to play. If you're a guitar player, I'll just tell you the first chord, this one, that's like a D major ninth chord. Really beautiful, although I'm capoed up, so it sounds E major ninth. But then this chord is always so hard to get to. Like you can play it like that. It's a C9, but it's got a sharp 11. This pesky F sharp, so you really have to kind of play it like so. And then the next chord is like it's a passing chord. It's like, well, I guess it's like a B flat diminished chord. And then it's another inverted chord. Then we have like an F sharp minor, sliding down to an E minor, A7 suspended, D major 9. But then that excruciating key change. So this is like I guess it's a B flat major 9th chord to an E flat 7 sharp 11, which I can never get. There you go. So that's the boring story behind the changes in that song. How's everybody doing? Brooke, where are people dialing in from tonight?
First of all, thank you for nerding out. For
I totally nerded out.
Guitar geeks out there. Just make sure my mic's on. Well, there's Jessica right next door and the gang. So hi, Jess and the gang next door.
Just going to fix something.
Gosh, we've got Argentina, Brazil, Romania, Toronto, Austria, Colombia, Buenos Aires, Philippines, Alabama.
All these places that border on each other.
Netherlands, Wisconsin, Halifax, PEI. It's incredible, you guys. All day. So this is the second concert we've had today. Germany. And people were literally tuning in from Korea and Japan and China. Anyway, you guys are so incredibly gracious to spend some time with us. And, it makes it feel, San Francisco, yes. Anyway, it just makes it feel like a very small world at the moment. So everyone's tuning in and saying hello. So welcome.
Yeah,
Love
welcome.
from Austria, Taylor Shred. So also my name's Brooke, and I'm here just to kind of MC the night, and I'll also try and navigate some questions or comments. So we'll take a little break after a couple songs. Bienvenue à Québec, and Love from China, nice. And then I'll also point out from the bottom of your left screen, there's a direct PayPal account directly to Dawn's Music to support the live concert type situation. And if you want to purchase music, there's the Bandcamp on the right-hand side of the bottom. Oh, wow, from Japan, one of our places, our favorite places. Anyway, so I'm happy to answer any questions here, or just kind of feel free to have a chat with each other. Let's talk guitars, but not too much. We're gonna focus on just being together and spending a bit of time.
Yeah, creating warmth in a cold year. So, all right. So here's a beautiful tune that was written by Gustav Holst, who, despite his German-sounding name, was an English composer who also wrote The Planets, very famous suite of instrumental pieces. So this is called In the Bleak Midwinter. In the Bleak Midwinter by Gustav Holst. That's really, it's a hymn tune. That's how I first heard it. I just heard it being sung at a church service around Christmas and thought, wow, that's a carol I've never heard before. So I'm into obscure stuff. So great. I'm going to switch guitars here. We had requests for some stuff, so I'm going to try to squeeze it all in. I'm going to switch. I've got a bunch of guitars here on a rack that you can't quite see in the shot. I've got 4 guitars just in case I get inspired to play all 4 of them. 3 of them were made by Mark Beneteau, great builder from St. Thomas, Ontario. Hi, Mark, if you're watching. Hi, Gail. This one, well, the last one I was playing was a Beneteau. This one is a really unusual one. It was built by a fellow named Oscar Graff, and he built it for me back in, I believe around 1995 he built this. And I got this built after visiting the Mill Wheel Guitar Shop in Toronto. Well, actually I had the idea a long time ago. When I was about 18, I visited the Mill Wheel back then when I was a music student at York University. And the Mill Wheel was Toronto's best acoustic guitar shop back then. And they had this 7-string guitar on the wall, and I picked it up and thought, that is so cool. What the heck's the 7th string for? Anyway, so I played it, and it was tuned in standard tuning on the top 6 strings, and then it had an extra really thick 7th string on the bottom, and it was tuned down to a B. So if you're a guitar player, you know that for the most part you're tuned in fourths on a guitar. So the 4th tuning continued down to this low B. And I really fell in love with that extra bottom end. I've always been a bottom end freak. I really should have been a baritone saxophonist or something. So then I did some research because I was a student. I found out that there are 7-string guitars that are common to both Brazil and Russia, which is weird, but I guess they each developed their own 7-string guitar culture separately. And of course, the 7-string is used a lot by rock guitarists and the real virtuoso style. Like I guess I can't think of any names right now, and also by the Pizzarellis. Both father and son played 7-string jazz guitar. So all kinds of cool tradition there. So I'm back when I made my Wintertide album back in the 90s. I had just gotten this guitar and was really enamored with possibilities, especially with this extra bottom string. So I'm going to play a 7-string guitar tune, an arrangement of a very old Christmas tune. This was written, I believe this was a piece written by Michael Pretorius, if I'm not incorrect. I know he wrote one of my favorite old carols. I think it's this one. It probably is from the late 1500s or early 1600s, so late 16th century, early 17th. And it's called the Coventry Carol. So I may be wrong about that. Maybe Pretorius wrote, "There is no rose of such virtue." I can't remember. Anyway, there's all kinds of beautiful tunes from that era. And for those of you who care, I have my guitar capoed up on the 5th fret on the top 5 strings, and they're in standard tuning. And then I have my bottom string tuned down to an A, and my 6th string tuned to a D. So they're both tuned a semitone lower than normal for a 7-string. So they're open bass strings, and then the rest of the guitar is kind of strung high. Okay, here we go. Coventry Carol. Coventry Carol. What are people saying on the little comment board there, Brooke?
Johanito 911 just said that this song is so dark and so beautiful. And I should also mention that Johanito is, where are you from again, buddy? Is it, are you in Korea? And they were with us at the noon show as well. So thank
Cool.
you for the second time being here. It's pretty awesome. A couple of requests. What were you going to say, Don?
No, I realize if you're in Eastern Asia, yeah, you could have stayed up late and it wouldn't have been too
and
late
it's
for you, for the early show. And now it's your breakfast time.
Breakfast with Dawn. Oh man, yeah. Go to sleep, buddy. Thank you, Michael and Zinger. It's 2:20 a.m.
Yeah,
Go to
that's
sleep.
crazy.
Oh, Montreal. Janito's in Montreal.
Oh, okay.
Cool. So Brazil is in the house. Boy, oh boy, you guys are great. So, let's see. We've got a couple of requests.
Right.
They're not Christmassy songs, but that's cool.
Yeah, I'll try to fit one or two in.
Did we get to Klimbim earlier
I
today?
played it
Yeah.
this afternoon, yeah.
Okay,
So if you want Klimbim, I played it in the earlier show, which is still available on the
so
Candyrat
that's
channel.
earlier on the Candyrat channel where you are now. So I know that was Drew Keating. I know you requested Klimbim, so we'll probably skip that one. Sorry, buddy. I know, I'm a jerk. But I make the rules. No, it's my show. But we had a request for Tight Trite Night.
Oh yeah, okay, I can
If
play that
you
one
can
for
be
sure.
cool with that was from, let's see, I'm just finding your request. Tight Trite Night. From Leandro Latu.
Okay, Leandro, I'll be happy to play that one for you during the show. Going to do another 7-string guitar tune for you. This one is in the standard 7-string guitar tuning. Now, when I first got this guitar, I found the 7th string actually quite confusing. I still do, actually. I don't play this guitar often enough. So it's kind of funny because your E string now is in not the lowest position. So you go to play an E minor chord. That was fine, but I very often finger it wrong and play it here, and so I go to play the E minor chord, and my fingering is wrong because my fingers go to where they feel they should be, because of this bottom string being here. So what I ended up doing most of the time with the 7-string is it's sort of writing pieces specifically for this guitar in very special tunings that you can't really get on a regular 6-string guitar. And that way I thought of it as like a guitar-like instrument that has 7 strings. So almost like I'm playing the mandolin or something, or the bass or something else that has strings, but that is guitar-ish, but sort of thinking in that mentality instead. But this tune is in standard tuning. With the low B. So those of you who like the baritone guitar, like Tight Trite Night, I'll be playing on my baritone later on. It's basically set up the same way as this guitar, except it doesn't have the high string. So this part of the guitar is basically a baritone, and this part is a regular guitar, right? Top 6 is a regular guitar, bottom 6 is a baritone. So the 7-string kind of gets both in there. It's almost like if you're familiar with the 5-string violin. They add an extra C string on the bottom, so you can play the bottom 4 strings like a viola, like a short scale viola, or the top 4 strings like a violin, or the whole thing like a violin that goes a lot lower than normal. So anyway, sort of akin to that. So this is an old Canadian carol. I think this is the only Canadian carol I'm going to play tonight. And the melody was adapted by Jean Brebeuf. Jean Brebeuf was an early Catholic missionary, and he made contact with the First Nation people here in Canada, and he met the Huron people who inhabit both Quebec and Ontario, modern-day Quebec and Ontario. And this song was originally called Jesus Anatonai, or something like that. Anaton, I can't remember how to pronounce it. It's a Huron word. And then, of course, Brebeuf wrote French words to it. That was his first language, and then it's been translated into English as well. So the English version is called the Huron Carol, and got a request for this one, so happy to do it. And that was called the Huron Carol. Very, very old First Nations Canadian Christmas song. Cool. All right. Happy to play that. Happy to play that request that came in.
Tight Trite Night.
Yeah.
Let's do it. So
Yeah,
here
yeah,
on the
yeah.
East Coast, I grew up on PEI,
Prince Edward Island.
Prince Edward Island, which is far East Coast here, and we've got kind of this weird dialect. I don't sound like a typical Islander myself, but the old joke with Tight Trite Night is that Islanders would say the word right, like you're right, with it, oit, roit.
Roit.
Same with night, noit. And
Toit,
so the joke, I keep calling this song Roit, Toit, Troit, Noit. Anyway,
Yep.
it's fine.
That's
It was funny at the time.
It's really cool, actually. For those of you who don't know this, Canada actually has very few regional accents among English speakers. So just about the only part of Canada that has a different accent, really like a really standout different accent, is this area where we are. Well, we live in Nova Scotia. Brooke, as she said, is originally from Prince Edward Island. Now, those two provinces are right next to each other here on the Atlantic coast. And then there's Newfoundland, which is a large island province mostly. It's also got a mainland part that's attached to Quebec. But Newfoundland is an island mostly way out in the ocean. It's quite far from the rest of Canada. And then New Brunswick is the other Atlantic province. And you meet people from various parts of the Maritimes, and it's a bit like going to the UK or something, where you travel a few miles and the dialect changes quite a bit. And so people say things like, instead of saying through, they say true, things like that. And they
True to door and take a right.
yes, right. True to door and take it right. Jam in a jar is, they call it jam. It's like it's almost kind of interesting. It's almost like an Appalachian accent in the United States. They say things like jam, and they say pack your care, and all these funny ways of saying things. Anyway, when I first got here, I got a big kick out of it. My mother grew up here in Nova Scotia, so I had some inkling, although my mother was educated by these very highfalutin Bostonian nuns who had a a province of their order here in Halifax. And so they spoke with a very cultivated accent. So it sort of rubbed off on my mother.
So one gentleman was asking
Yes.
where you're from, and I mentioned that you grew up in Montreal, Quebec, but
I
maybe
did.
you want to speak a little bit about your Mi'kmaq heritage and connection
Sure.
to the Nova Scotia roots.
Yeah. Yes, I was born and raised in Montreal, Quebec, which is a mostly francophone part of Canada, French-speaking part. And but my parents were not native French speakers. My father is from Scotland originally, and he's still going. He's approaching his 92nd birthday. He keeps on trucking like the Energizer Bunny. And my late mother, she passed away a while ago. She was First Nations Mi'kmaq person from here in Nova Scotia. So Mi'kmaq, sometimes the old pronunciation among Europeans was Micmac. So I always make the joke that being half Micmac and half Scottish makes me a Micmac. So 30 years on through my career, that still gets a guffaw at live shows. Anyway, I know you're all laughing. So yeah, it's interesting. Sort of this half immigrant, half very Canadian heritage. Like probably back 10,000 generations on my mother's side. So it's pretty cool. And then I grew up in Quebec and then lived for quite a while in Ontario, in and around Toronto, and then moving to Nova Scotia with Brooke we first moved here in 2009. I used to come here a lot as a kid for holidays and stuff like that, and I loved it. I thought it was a really cool place, and I really got a kick out of meeting my First Nations relatives on the reserve near Truro, Nova Scotia. It's a reserve called Millbrook. Represent. Hope everybody's watching. Hi, cousins. And cousins and uncles and aunties and everybody else. And my parents actually moved back to Millbrook Reserve in the late 90s and lived there until my mom passed away, and my dad eventually sold his house and moved here to Halifax. And so kind of a cool thing, like I felt very at home as soon as I came to Atlantic Canada, even though there's not as much French spoken here, even though it's not a big city where we are. I love it. I just love being in Atlantic Canada, so I'm happy to stay here. It's a great place to live. And as more and more people are discovering, a lot of people are moving to Atlantic Canada. So this piece of music, is a request, and it's on the baritone guitar. This is another Mark Beneteau guitar. As you can see, it's quite crazy looking. It uses this fan fret system so that the strings get longer as they get thicker. And this is the first tune I wrote for the baritone guitar, called Tight Trite Night. Oh yeah, there you have it. Tight Trite Night on the baritone guitar, made by Mark Beneteau. What are people saying there, Brooke?
Well, we were just talking about nails a little bit. You get a lot of questions around the thumb pick that you use, which is the Golden Gate series, correct?
Yeah, this is a Golden Gate
Yeah.
thumb pick. I don't get an endorsement. I just really like them.
Yeah.
They're very well made, and they're a bit more expensive. But I mean, as far as thumb picks go, $2 or $2.50 or something, as opposed to 25 cents for a cheapo. And they make them in various materials. This one's an Ivoroid one.
I use the small ones. I find that they really hold to the mold, to the size of your thumb well.
Yeah.
They don't slip, and they're a great thickness with a nice attack on the strings. And also, a gentleman was asking about your strings. Carlos was asking about your nails, rather, not your strings. And I mentioned that you use kind of a full coverage brand of nails that just come from the drugstore. They're inexpensive,
Yeah.
and you double them up, and that's been... How did you find that?
That's right. Well, there's a couple of different ways I do it. The way I've been doing it for a long time, I used to go to the nail salon all the time. Problem with that is that it's expensive, and if you break a nail on the road, you're stuck having to look all over the place for a nail salon. And if you're, and you're in Warsaw or whatever, and you can't read the signs, there's no vowels in any of the signs. You don't know what a nail salon is called. It gets to be a bit of a drag. So I started buying these things, so the covers off it. But these particular ones are by a company called Naileen, I think. And they come with a whole bunch of pre-made nails and like fake fingernails, and then a little vial of glue. And there's also a little file that comes with it as well. And so what I do is I glue one of those on, and then I glue another one on top, and then that way it's double thick. And the glue is like crazy glue. I mean, I'm sure I've taken years off my life, but anyway, I'm still here. Anyway, that makes the difference. Now, there's another brand that I've been using a lot when I can find them. They're not as well distributed. They're made by a company called Kiss, and they have an embarrassing name. They're called Nude, okay? So Nude. And the cool thing about them is they look a little more natural. I mean, they look like French manicure or whatever. So at least they look a bit more like a nail than some of them. Most of the ones that I use just look like white. They look like teeth more than nails. And but those Kiss ones, they're super hard. So they're almost like they're made for guitarists. It's kind of amazing. So those ones you just have to put on one and you're done. And so you can do your own nails in 5 minutes, as opposed to having to book an appointment and spend 45 minutes talking to somebody about whatever, just to make chat while you're... Although, the longer the pandemic goes on, the more inviting that sounds. Anyway, so that's what I do for nails. I'm going to continue with a great Joni Mitchell tune. I've been practicing this one, but it's funny. It calls for all kinds of weird things to happen, and I do it in this altered tuning. So for those of you who care, I'm in a C minor 11th tuning, and so just for the heck of it, the bottom string is a C, and the 5th string is a B flat, the 4th string is an E flat, the 3rd string is an F, the 2nd string is a B flat, and the high string is a D.
One more time, please.
Yes, Brooke will take that
typing
down.
out the
She's
tuning
typing it
here.
down in the comments. So from low to high, it's C, B flat, E flat, F, B flat, D. And there's another tuning that both Brooke and I use often that's almost the same. The only difference is on the 5th string, instead of having a B flat, it has a G. They're both C minor 11th chords, but this is a different voicing. And I've got it tuned this way with a B flat in the low bass like this, so that I can play in the key of B flat really easily. Because now I've got a B flat here, and the top 3 strings, I have a B flat chord. So I wrote this arrangement of this song in B flat for that reason. And like I say, I've only played this tune once in public ever since I recorded it, and that was earlier today in the earlier live stream. So I'm going to give it another try. So send me your best here. But it's a very beautiful, very sad song about Christmas that Joni wrote in the early 70s and was on her album called Blue. It's called River. Hey, that was okay. That was a lot better than the earlier version.
I'm
River.
crying.
Aw,
Just do a
yeah,
little
it's a
crying
beautiful
every
song. It's like one of those heartbreaking songs. First time I heard it, I was unprepared for it. I was just I was a teenage kid, and they were playing all these beautiful Christmas songs on the radio, and then that song came on. Yeah, and I was crying at the end of it. It's such a sad song. Anyway, beautiful tune. What are people saying there on the interwebs there, Brooke?
Oh my gosh, so many wonderful comments. Not a whole lot of questions,
Okay.
and I think people are just really
Getting
enjoying
into
the
it.
show. We've got Ukraine. Gosh.
That's awesome.
Some folks saying it would be really wonderful to see you live again. Friends of ours in
Yeah.
Germany tuning in, saying they'd love to see us live
Very
again.
nice.
I know, and let's see now.
Yeah, seeing us live again would be great, wouldn't it? You know, this is what we have to do for now. And who knows, even maybe after things get a little bit back to normal, a lot of this will continue, because this has actually been kind of an interesting discovery, this experience of live streaming concerts. The nice thing about it is that, one of the nice things about it is that, at least on a kind of a regular basis, you can make more of contact with your fans around the world, and it's in real time, so there's something kind of appealing about that, without anybody having to travel anywhere, which is kind of amazing.
Sorry. Alex Rincon, I did, sorry to interrupt, Don.
It's all right.
I did
No worries.
write down your request. Alex made a super chat request for Michael.
Oh,
There were
okay.
a few comments and requests for the same song, but Alex sent teary eyes and some begging hands to play Michael.
Oh, that's very possible.
That's
Okay.
very possible. Alex, sorry, buddy. Jeez, man. Yep, got you. We got you.
I'll play you one more Christmas tune, and then I'll do that
And then
one.
we'll do Michael. There's a few requests. Loaded Leather Moonroof from Lane Hedges. I know, so we may not be able to get to all of these because an hour is just not enough to make sure everyone's
Especially in a
taken
themed
care of.
show.
I know. But you know, we'll do this again, and because music online is kind of the way it's going to be for a little while. So much like, you know, being at a show, if you guys feel that you can contribute to the concert, please notify the PayPal
Yeah,
link
please,
down at
please,
the bottom.
please, thank you. Yeah,
At the
musicians have
screen.
been hard hit by this whole thing,
Yeah.
so whatever you can do to contribute and chip in for the music, that's great.
We love playing for you guys. You know,
Yeah.
it's really important that we stay connected this
Only
way.
if you
so-
can, of course.
Yeah, and if you're in the position to, then that's great. If not, then just enjoy, and enjoy anyway. But it's there because we're all part of this, and so yeah, it's like buying local, man. you
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
Except some of you in Brazil, so this is how you can buy local in Nova Scotia.
That's right. And you
Um,
can pick up my holiday music on Bandcamp. I have it there for sale, so and it's dirt cheap. And a little bit of the money goes to a local food bank, so that's a way of making a bit of a contribution
That's
there.
right. Nova Scotia Feeds is a really wonderful organization.
Feed Nova Scotia.
Feed Nova Scotia
Yeah,
is
that's
a
right.
wonderful organization here,
Mhm.
and they feed a lot of local community members over
Yeah.
the holidays, especially, and not to mention during COVID times, everyone's hit much
Yeah, for
harder
sure.
all over the world. My dad, Doug Miller, is asking question: why can't I play like you?
Because you play like you. There's the big Pure Ben
There you
Suzanne
go.
answer. You should play like you, Doug. That's important.
Hey, and Jordan Buntain just tuned in. Hey, buddy, from Vermont.
Hi,
Nice.
Jordan. All right, I'll play this seasonal tune. This is, you know, the two big Christmas powerhouses are Germany and England, right? In terms of the European traditions that we've inherited here in North America, the Christmas tree and all the songs and all that kind of stuff. I guess simply because there was a lot of immigration from those two countries. And of course, there's a huge French language Christmas tradition as well. Lots of traditional songs from there too that you hear mostly in Quebec here, but you hear them in other parts of Canada as well. Here's an Old English carol called The First Noel. Yeah, first Noel. Happy Christmas. So, yes, Michael, Michael, Michael. I can play that. It's almost in the same tuning. There you go. So how convenient is that? So this is a tune dedicated to the late, great Michael Hedges. It was just recently the anniversary of his death, just a few days ago. He unfortunately died in an accident back in 1997. Michael and I got to be buddies in the last 10 years of his life or so. And he was, of course, a great innovator, a great composer, great musician, another sort of unwitting member of the guitar community. I only say that only because a lot of us who play the instrument, we play it because it gets the music that we want in our heads out. And the instrument is so portable and it's very convenient, and it's a great instrument. You can play melodies and harmonies, and you can play counterpoint, and you can do all kinds of things. It's like a little orchestra or a little piano, you know. But I think Michael and I would often commiserate about how neither of us was really a guitar head, but when you very visibly play the guitar, you get put in the guitar box a lot. So, but Michael and I had very similar musical educations. We found out after meeting. He went to the Peabody Conservatory in Baltimore, and I went to York University in Toronto. And the two schools had very similar, very modern, it was the 20th century then, very 20th century ideas about where music could go and how music should be taught. So we studied a lot of the same composers and all that kind of stuff. So there was a lot of common ground musically. It was really cool. Anyway, we were supposed to record a duet together, and I wrote an earlier tune called Afraid to Dance that he heard it and loved it, and he says, it's just such a complete tune on its own, I have no idea what I would do in it, so how about you write another tune and leave a bit more room in it? And so I had this tune written, and then he passed away within days of me finishing it, so I was so shocked that I was muttering his name all the time, and that's what I called the tune. So it's called Michael, Michael, Michael. And so I play it as a dedication to him, and I play it solo, and I fill in the parts that I sort of imagined him doing. So so it's my duet that's really a solo tune. That was fun.
Everybody was literally flipping out. You guys all danced, right?
Oh, yeah.
Just, we know it.
But the gills.
Yep.
But the gills. Well, I'll take a couple more questions, and I think we'll just wrap up. Do people have questions or comments? Just anything, anything to do with the instruments or this lovely propane fire or the equipment we're using or what the heck's going on,
Do you
meaning
wanna
of
talk
life.
a little about...
Oh, yes, of course. Little about we just have to, this is what happens with married couples, right? You don't even have to finish sentences. Brooke and I have been working during the pandemic on a project that I have had in my head for like the last 10 years. And I've been trying to figure out some way of doing it, and I knew I couldn't do it all by my lonesome. So it's an online teaching subscription-based website. So we're just about to go, we have opened the website. It's called donrossguitaracademy.com, donrossguitaracademy.com. And in a couple of minutes, we're going to just roll a little promo video to end the show so you can find out more about that. But what we've got open right now is the beginner level course. That's kind of, that's definitely the largest number of people who are out there in terms of guitar students, people who want to learn. It turns out that the guitar is the most popular instrument in the world, and most people either play the guitar or have somebody in the family who knows how to play, or their best buddy plays or whatever. So it's a desirable instrument to learn how to play. And we've made these beginner level lessons. Actually, we shot them right here in front of the fireplace without it being on, so I wouldn't roast myself. And we start right at the beginning, like which guitar you should get, maybe, which one you want to consider, what kind of strings to use, how to put the strings on, how to tune up, how to finger pick, how to strum, how to accompany a song, all those kinds of things. So we're starting, that's the beginner level course. It's there's about 27 lessons online. It'll be a subscription-based thing, all you can eat. And the intermediate and advanced lessons will be coming over the course of 2021, likely. And of course, Brooke helped me, was an equal partner in it, did all the shooting and all the audio recording and most of the editing of most of the lessons. So it's been a big job. And our friend Andrew Terlou in Iowa has been helping us with the web-based stuff. So anyway, donrossguitaracademy.com is where to go for that. Any last questions or comments?
Someone was just asking about where you find the Kiss brand nails, and
Yeah.
we found them at the Shoppers Drug Mart for those of you that are
In Canada.
In the U.S., probably the CVS.
Yeah, CVS or Rite Aid
or
or
Rite
one of them.
Aid.
They likely have them.
There is
In
a
Germany, I
website
found them
here.
first. I found them at Rossmann in Germany.
Rossmann in Germany.
And Müller. Müller is the other place you'll find them in Germany. And in various other European countries, probably. Stores like that, kind of shows that are kind of like, stores that are kind of like drugstores, but they also sell bottles of wine and stuff.
Reed Means says, you were a big influence on a lot of us guitar players. Thank you for your contributions to the world we live in.
That's very lovely. Thank you very much. Well, it's nice to be an influence. Nice to be an inspiration to all of you.
Coffee and Stream asked any chance we could get country for the Dom Car.
Oh my gosh.
Thanks,
well,
man. Next time.
We'll get Brooke up for
We're
another
just
stream
not set
show
up.
soon. Remember, this is not a saxophone, Don, right?
Forgive me. Kenny Kikio he asks what finger style type exercises do you recommend?
There's a few you can try. There's a free lesson that's up on YouTube that I did for jam play. So if you're new to finger picking, that'll help you learn how to Travis pick. If you're more advanced, there's a thing that I teach a lot of my students how to do. It's called a polyrhythm. So you can start with something like a 3-against-2 polyrhythm, just in your thumb and index finger on your guitar, and just pick like this. So you're playing 2 rhythms at once. You're playing a faster rhythm, 3 beats in your thumb, and you're playing only 2 beats in your finger, and they happen the same amount of time. So it's basically like a slow triplet. And they can flip them around like this. And I'll put the faster beat in my fingers. And then you can turn that into an arpeggio. then arpeggio with an alternating bass line. And then keep going to more bass notes. And then eventually pick up speed. So what that does is it helps you develop a lot of independence between thumb and fingers, and you actually are really able to hear the two voices really, really well, and it's a really great musicianship exercise. Another one is 4 against 3, like. So I'm doing 4 bass notes for every 3 treble notes. Whoops, hard to do it and talk at the same time. And then arpeggiate now. Alternate the bass. And more alternate. So that really works your right hand.
And your brain.
And your brain.
Brain
That's
hurts.
mostly what you're doing is you're really programming your mind to think on 2 rhythmic levels at once. And there are other polyrhythms that are interesting but more advanced, like 5 against 4. Etc. So they're crazy, but they're really great exercises. And if you build up slowly, it really builds your musicianship and your right hand skills amazingly. And I even incorporate those polyrhythms into some of my pieces.
Another quick question.
Yes.
2 questions, if you can answer them.
Okay, I'll answer these 2 questions and then we'll
Let me
wrap
see.
up with our little video about the new website.
I can't remember who was asking this. Forgive me, but was asking. Oh, how do you remember alternative tunings? And, my gosh.
We'll start with that one.
Okay.
Alternate tunings. Some of them are where you tune to an actual identifiable chord, like an open C major, like First Noel that I played earlier. I was playing in C major, so open C, so C, G, C, G, C, E is the tuning. And it's a voicing of a major chord, so it sounds kind of familiar. And when you borrow it across the strings, you get major chords in other places. Those ones are relatively straight ahead, and you can learn, once you learn one open chord major tuning, you can apply a lot of the fingering idea to other open chord tunings, like open G, open D. They work very similarly, just on different sets of strings. When you get into other alternate tunings, dadgad is really simple. Because in D major or D minor, you can play all the open strings, no problem. And for D major, you can play notes on 0, 2, 4 on every string, and you'll always be in the key of D major. And D minor is almost as simple as that. And dadgad is also good for other tunes, other keys like G major and even C major, E flat major, F major. Those all work well in dadgad. And then there are some other tunings that I've made up just for only 1 or 2 pieces that are very specific because I wanted to get a certain thing that I couldn't get in any other tuning. And so I adopted a new tuning that gave me the possibility to get those notes all happening at the same time. And if I want to be able to either compose or improvise in those tunings, I very often have to really understand the intervals, the interval relationships between the strings. So if 2 strings are a third apart or a fourth apart or a fifth apart, I have to sort of know that and then adapt my fingerings for those intervals. So it takes a while to get used to those things. And in my case, I use a stupid number of tunings. But I've been doing it since I was a very young boy on the guitar. I started hearing sounds that I couldn't get in standard tuning, so I started altering my tuning a lot from a very early age. So I've been at it a long time. And your other question was?
Mike Ormsby was asking
hi,
if
Mike.
you could still get the Cahuan record. Is that possible?
Zowie.
Yeah.
Wowie, wowie. Okay, back in 1986, I think it was, I made a cassette album with my late wife, Kelly, and that's going way back. What happened at the time, I was new back to Toronto. I'd been working out at this First Nations community called Kihiwin in Alberta that Mike mentions. Mike wrote me earlier and says that he's married actually to a band member there. That's cool. And I taught music on the Kihiwin Reserve back in the mid-'80s. So back around then, I came back to Toronto, wanted to get going in the music business, and so I made a recording, and I just put it onto cassettes, because that's all there was that you could really do as an independent back then. And it was too expensive to make CDs. And I just shopped it around. I took it to various places, and it's a real mixed bag on there. There's some solo guitar tunes, but there's vocal tunes, there's full band tunes, there's even a banjo tune for the good, I can't believe I threw that tune on there. But I wanted to, it's basically an album-length demo recording. I was just trying to let people hear everything I could do. I play fretless bass on it, piano, it goes on and on. There's drum programming on it. So the long answer is no. I don't have any copies. I think I have one archived copy in my collection, and even it's probably not in very good shape, so it wouldn't digitize well. And the master tape, I got rid of a lot of my reel-to-reel masters years ago because I wasn't using them. So unfortunately, it's not really available. But a lot of the tunes on that, a lot of the solo guitar tunes, ended up on an album called Bearing Straight, which was my first real CD that I released in 1989 or so. Anyway, this has been a real pleasure. Thanks everybody for being here, both at this show and at the earlier one. We do these every once in a while. Brooke does one every once in a while. We do some together every once in a while. And I'm on by myself, sometimes just as a pop-up concert. Sometimes I just give you a day or two notice, and I've just decided to do one because I can get set up quickly and get online and see you all on either YouTube or Facebook or whatever. So thanks again for being here. Thanks again to the Candyrat people at Candyrat, Rob and Holly Poland, and for letting us use their YouTube channel, because they've got lots of subscribers. And there's lots of great music on the Candyrat Records label. So make sure you support them as well. Music makes a great gift.
Absolutely. And just everyone, sleep well. Thank you for those in Russia and all over the world who stayed up to the wee hours in the morning. You guys are insane.
Yeah.
But we love you. Thank you. And just a note to just everyone, hope you're keeping safe. Let's take care and protect our elders.
Stay healthy.
Stay healthy. Take care of yourself. Show compassion to others, kindness, patience, and wear your mask.
Yeah,
be safe.
Yeah.
Just like you put on your seatbelt, okay?
Yeah, that's right.
And just take care of each other. Be kind, be patient, and get some sleep. Eat well. Self-care, man. Like, we're all going to get through this, but we're all here for each other, and it's fantastic that we can be all together on a setting like this. It's kind of revolutionary, so...
Yeah, and whatever you celebrate, whether you celebrate nothing, or you celebrate Christmas, or I guess Hanukkah's done now, and I guess Diwali's done right now. But whatever you celebrate, or even if it's just getting together with buds, which you probably shouldn't do this year, but just hold the people that you live with close this holiday. Brooke and I are just going to have a 2-person Christmas this year. No family, no friends. It's the way it's got to be until we're past this. But the vaccines are coming. Wear your mask. Be safe. Be healthy. And we're going to roll a little video for you here about the new teaching website, Brooke. And we'll get that rolling. I got to get her to press the button.
I have one job.
You have one job. That's right. It's hidden behind my mail program there. So once again, this is a little promo about our new online teaching site, DonRossGuitarAcademy.com. Enjoy it. It's a couple of minutes long, and we'll see you again soon. All right. Have a great rest of your weekend. Hi there. My name is Don Ross. I'm a professional guitarist and musician. What I've noticed over the course of my life is that when people learn how to play an instrument, a lot of people use a more visual way of learning, whereas other people are better at learning by ear. But the truth is, most of us use a combination of both. I'm I'm about to launch a new online guitar lesson series called the Don Ross Guitar Academy. The whole point is to make learning guitar fun and interesting so that you learn not only how to move your fingers around on the instrument, but that you also know the fundamentals of the music behind it. I've been playing the guitar my life, and since I was a very young boy, in fact since I was an early teenager, I've been teaching private guitar lessons one-on-one. And over the years I've taught hundreds of people of varying ages and abilities how to play the instrument, starting from wherever they are and taking them to the next level. If you're just starting out to learn to play the guitar, and you're looking for a really great way not only to learn how to play it, but also to understand it, well, we're just about to launch the Don Ross Guitar Academy Beginner Online Lesson Course. So visit donrossguitaracademy.com and enroll in our beginner level course. That way you can learn how to play the guitar while becoming a musician who really understands the music behind what they're playing.